Hello, good morning, happy birthday, welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. See, every day is your birthday if you want it to be so. Welcome to the first day of the rest. We did that already, didn't we? I'm hands-free. No, I'm not hands-free. I'm not hands-free. That's the whole point, isn't it? There's a couple of children playing on the play equipment that I normally use. And then we talk from today. So I'm out here holding it with my right hand, and so therefore I can't do the loves and stuff, or maybe I'll do later, you'll never see. But we're going to start off with a breathing exercise we normally do. Again, if you struggle with anxiety or panic attacks, then this is really useful. Do it 5 times if you're actually struggling with that sort of thing. So first of all, empty your lungs out. So breathe out, and then breathe in through your nose for a count of 5, hold for a count of 5, and then blow out all the candles in your cake to wish yourself a happy birthday. And today we are celebrating the birthdays, the actual real birthdays. Good morning, Christina, of Andy, Raja, Phil, Jason, Jay, Bill, Lance, Ruth, Nick, and this is an interesting name, Selvathurai, Navakeerthi. I'm not sure which way around those names go, so I'm not sure which is your first and which is your second, so we'll see. So anyway, happy birthday to Kentucky. That's Christina, isn't it? That's you, Kentucky. Don't want to go into politics. Not going to go into politics. Don't get drawn by politics, John. Although we are going to talk about politics a little bit later on. So yeah, breathing out, breathing exercise. 5 in through the nose, hold for 5, breathe out, blow out all the candles, and wish these several people happy birthday. So breathe out first, and then breathe in through those. Hold for 5. And then blow out the candles on the cake. Make a wish while you do that as well. And think of all the good birthdays you've ever had and all the wonderful people who you've been surrounded with in your life. And that'd be kind of cool. And happy birthday to Andy, Raja, Phil, Jason. I'm sorry I don't know many of you people. Raja's doing a fundraising for people with stutters. So that's a worthy cause. Feel free to go and support that. I actually did help somebody, David, a few years ago who had a stutter. Yeah, he's much better now. He still stutters a little bit, but yeah, sorry, I do this. It's a bit of a thing of mine, isn't it? Lance, who has moved to America, who used to be my accountant. I hope everything's going well for you in America, Ruth. Lance, Ruth Stiggles. I think, Ruth, was that you that started Walking in Nature thing? I can't remember what it's called now. Friday. Yeah, Fresh Air Fridays. That was what it was, wasn't it? I think that was you, wasn't it? If it's not, sorry, but it was somebody else. Nick and Selvathurai. I think Navakeerthi. I think, was it you I worked with in the pharmaceutical world? Were you a coder? I can't remember. Anyway, for all those people, tell us what you do, where you are, what we can buy from you if you can buy anything from you, and how I know you if I wasn't sure how I know you, basically. And Jay Allen, by the way, I was also doing a stress support for his birthday for stress, so feel free to go and support that as well. Okay, so we're going to talk today about imposter syndrome, overcoming imposter syndrome. Yes, instantly. Probably should have started with this really, so give you the tip right at the beginning of the video, but that's not my style. Overcoming imposter syndrome. So this came from the Brendan Buchard top 10, which is linked in the description. So feel free to go and find that out, because we are all a little bit impostery sometimes, don't we? And basically the tip was, nobody in the world is you. So why are you believing that you're being an imposter when actually you're just being yourself? Because the reason you're thinking you're being an imposter is because you're trying to be somebody else. You're trying to achieve something else that you feel like you're not. So typically, when you're feeling that imposter syndrome, it's because you think there's somebody else that you're looking up to, that you're trying to emulate, that you're trying to become like, and therefore you're thinking, well, I'm not as good as them, so therefore I'm not good enough to be them and do what they do. But you are not them. You are you. You have your own unique world view of the world, which is why we're going to talk about the psychology of intelligence in a moment, from a guy called Piaget, who was a psychologist in the 40s or thereabouts, and his child psychology thesis is a very much a. I have come back to the play equipment, but it is a bit windy, so the camera may fall over. He Sorry. Yeah, so he was a psychologist. So anyway, we'll talk about that again in a minute. Sorry, this is one of those sort of things when things go wrong and loses your train of thought, doesn't it, sometimes? What are we talking about? Oh, you're imposter syndrome. You're not being yourself. You're not being somebody else. You're being yourself. So just be happy being yourself and recognize that you are unique and you are the only person who can be you. So therefore your imposter syndrome theoretically just vanishes straight away, because the moment you recognize that you are unique and nobody else could be you and do what you do, then you're no longer being an imposter, because you're just being yourself. You are being your unique self, bringing your unique view of the world to the world, and helping out those people who typically, especially if you're doing imposter syndrome, because it's usually a coaching strategy or some kind of training strategy or something like that, you are teaching somebody something that you know, that you've learned, that through your experiences, you have learned how to do something, and then there are other people in the world who are still trying to do the thing that you've already learned how to do, and they're looking for somebody who can teach them and to accelerate them and save them the amount of time it took you to get to where you are. So you know how to get to where you are, you know all the techniques and tricks of how to get to where you are right now, and there's somebody else out in the world, hundreds and thousands of them probably, and obviously part of marketing is finding them, who wants to do what you have done and want to emulate what you have done, but they don't want to have to go through the pain and struggles that you went through for the amount of time you went through them. So they were looking for somebody to shortcut you and help them get to where you are, and they're looking for somebody just like you, because they want somebody who they can relate to, that they can learn from, who is going to teach them in the way that they're going to understand, that they're going to make. So there's no point being somebody else. There's no point trying to be like somebody else, because that other person won't relate to that person who you're trying to help. That person who's trying to help is looking specifically for you to help them. Just like you back then were looking for somebody to help you get to where you are, and you couldn't find anybody. And probably the reason you couldn't find somebody is because there was somebody who'd been through it, but they were too scared. They were feeling imposter syndrome and they weren't putting themselves out there enough, so you couldn't find them. So you were looking for them, but you couldn't find them, because you were looking for help. Just like I'm looking for people now who want my help. And I don't know where they are. I don't know who they are. I don't know how to attract them. I'm still working on that. I still feel like, up until now, I've been feeling this imposter syndrome, because I've been feeling like I'm not as good as, or I'm not as well known as, say, Tony Robbins. I'm not as well structured as, for example, Brendan Buchard, who's on the top 10 thing today. There's more children playing on the equipment. I'm just moving away so that they're not in the background. Yeah, so all those sorts of things. But I am me, and there are people out there who will love me and will want me to help them get to where they want to get to. So if that's you, get in touch. We have a 7-day challenge starting on Sunday, the 21st. 7 days to live a life you love. That's what we're going to go for. What was the other thing on my description? It instantly stop. Oh, stop trying. Yes, that's right. So stop trying and start doing, basically. This is kind of cool as well. This came from that Brendan Buchard video, but it wasn't actually what he was saying. He just kept on saying, try to do this, try to do that, and I thought this whole do or do not, there is no try thing kept coming into my mind, and I've never really liked that do or do not, there is no try. And it's like, well, no, there is a try, because you do try and then you either succeed or you fail. So there is a trying process. I did a long time ago on these live videos. I got a stick of wood or a pen. You can do it with a pen, and if you hold a pen like this and then you try to drop it, you either drop it or you don't drop it. There's no trying about it. But a lot of people use the analogy, try and pick up the pen. Well, you can try to pick up the pen, and then you'll just, I've picked it up, but I haven't got a good enough grip, so I've dropped it. So I've kind of learning experience there to a certain extent, because you're trying to pick up the pen, but you haven't got the ability to pick up the pen. Imagine somebody picking up a pen who's lost their hand and they've got a mechanical hand. They're trying to pick up the pen for the first time. They are trying, but they're trying to get their brain to rewire so that they can control the fingers, the pincer movements on their fingers, so that they can actually pick up the pen. They only need to know how hard they need to do it, how far they need to do it, all that kind of stuff. That takes time, and we do this as children. We learn all this stuff as children because children do try lots of things, and then eventually they do. However, this is the kind of cool thing I like about this, is rather than using the word try, you can choose to think of it as working. So I'm working towards something. So rather than I'm trying to learn how to I can see a table tennis table there, learning how to play table tennis. I'm not trying to learn to play table tennis. I am working towards playing table tennis. I'm working. Actually, my Rubik's Cube course is a classic example of this. If you want to learn how to do the Rubik's Cube, I was talking to my friend Valentina this morning about this, and she was saying, how long will it take me? And I was like, well, how long is a piece of string? It depends. But you have to do the work. So you have to actually take the course. I've sent out my Rubik's Cube, how to solve the Rubik's Cube without learning how to solve the Rubik's Cube course, to about 10 or 20 people, and not one of them has actually taken the course. And I'm like, can you please give me some feedback as to whether or not this course actually helps you solve the Rubik's Cube? Because I know it does. I know you can have a solved Rubik's Cube in less than an hour by following my cube, even if you have know nothing about how to solve the Rubik's Cube. But can I get anybody to actually do it? It's really frustrating, because I want feedback. It's like, was it easy to follow? Was there anywhere you got stuck? Did it make sense? Was it too repetitive? Was it too boring? Did I need to spice it up? It's like, what? Yeah. How long did it take you? I think it takes about an hour, but maybe it could be less, maybe it could be longer. I don't know. This is why I want somebody to actually try it and do it. But they have to do it. They have to do the work to be able to do that. Otherwise, it doesn't help me at all. So, by the way, if you want to solve a Rubik's Cube without having to learn how to solve a Rubik's Cube, let me know. I would love to send you the course. And if you just actually do it, it'd be great. I'm getting to the point now where I'm starting to think about paying people to actually do it. I think that's the only way I can actually get people to take the course. But then again, and here's the thing. I should do some Facebook adverts, because then I can pay some Facebook adverts to get some people to pay me for this. That's a much better idea, isn't it? Let's do that. Okay, cool. Anyway, and then I want to talk about the psychology of intelligence as well, because it does fit into this as well, because it looks at child psychology, because the guy Piaget, who is basically a hero of mine, not the only one. There's a guy called, oh God, I can't remember his name, Russian guy anyway, who also looked into child psychology and development and so forth. And they looked at the first sort of 14 years of a child's life, and it's how we develop as a child, and how we become programmed, and how our brain gets wired the way it is, so that we become the adults we become later on in life. And obviously my job is to help people to a certain extent, rewire all those things that have caused them problems. So if you've got problems later on in life, you're struggling with depression and anxiety and so forth, typically that comes from not being able to process the world around you in the right way, thinking of things in a way that's helpful to you. Anyway, it's all good stuff. Slightly distracted today, obviously, because I'm having to move around to stop the children being in the background. Maybe I should just start walking and be done with it. Anyway, I've got this really annoying habit of touching my nose. What is that about? Which I just noticed today. I noticed it on a video the other day, and I've just noticed myself actually doing it in real life. There's no reason for doing that. It's become a habit, obviously. So the psychology of intelligence. So this is about learning about thinking, learning about how to think and how to process the world around you. And this is what children do. There are 3 or 4 stages of development. I can't remember them off the top of my head. But there's sort of the first 8 months, and then they start to learn about objects being hidden and not hidden. So you've done this with a child. It's like, boo, boo, here I am. Up to about the age of 8 months, they don't recognise when things have gone. And then 24 months, they start learning about movement of things and perspectives and seeing around things and stuff, and then you start seeing the time. You start understanding about time, and then classifications of things. So you look at a squirrel. Is it a dog? No, it's not. It's a squirrel. Why is it a squirrel? Oh, because squirrels are much smaller than dogs, and squirrels climb trees and dogs don't climb trees. That kind of stuff. And then sizes and time and stuff. So is a dog bigger than a cat, and a cat's bigger than but there are cats bigger than dogs, and why is that? Oh, they're tigers. They're it's like it's a different type of cat. All that kind of classification stuff. And then timing stuff, like when you move from one room to another room. Anyway, you can get into loads of stuff about that. And here's the critical thing about all that stuff. It's about because what happens eventually is you start being critical, and about you have this ability to conceive of things that you don't think are true, and then switch that around and learn a different way of thinking. And I'm running out of time, I just realised. And this is kind of cool. It's being able to be have critical thinking of what you're doing. And this is where politics comes into it. So I have this belief system, and this is how the world around me exists. And I'm not willing to think outside of that box and think of things in a different way and look at things from other people's perspectives. And so that can cause me problems. Gonna have to come back to this subject a little bit later on, because I've run out of time. I used to try and keep these things under 10 minutes, and now I'm trying to keep them under 15 minutes. It's ridiculous. Too many things trying to cram into one thing. Oh, by the way, that's the book of the day, Psychology of Intelligence. So if you want to know more about that, go and listen to the Blinkist book of the day. It's linked in the description. Lots more information about that sort of stuff going on in there as well. It would be really good. And also go and look at the Brendan Buchard video, because I'm also mentioned in there. I'm giving a little shout out at the end, 23 minutes in. Again, link in description. Okay, guys, bye-bye now. Love you. Can't do it with 2 hands. Don't have the hands for that. There you go. Love you all.